Welcome to our channel. Here you will find the latest news, games, and opinions about Barcelona Football Club. We are dedicated fans and we want to share our passion with you. First and foremost, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. This helps us grow and continue bringing you the latest updates and analysis about the club. So, sit back comfortably and prepare yourself to stay up to date with everything happening with your favorite team. Let's get started. Lionel Messi isn't coming back. Next summer will be strictly free transfers, a player sale cannot be ruled out, and sensational talents like Gavi and Ronald Araujo are being asked to wait patiently for new contracts to be accepted. They were the conclusions from La Liga's rejection this week of Barcelona's attempts to give Gavi a grown-up contract to match his extraordinary progress. Barcelona's slow crawl out of financial trouble was boosted last summer when the club secured one-off cash injections in exchange for chunks of future revenue, the famous economic levers. But group stage elimination from the Champions League has slammed the brakes on progress, and the wage bill is believed to still stand around 20% over and above La Liga's maximum squad spend limit. The club had budgeted for a minimum quarterfinals finish in the Champions League this season, and failure to get out of the group means a shortfall of £18 million. Winning the Europa League would generate £13 million, but that is far from guaranteed. The club say no more than 5% of future earnings were mortgaged off last summer when they sold part of their TV rights and just under half of Barca Studios. There are no regrets because they believe it was the only option and allowed them to spend £130 million on players. La Liga privately informs clubs of their maximum permitted squad spend at the start of every transfer window, based on information regarding future revenue and costs provided to the league by the clubs. Barca's attempts at persuading La Liga to give them a maximum squad spend now that would have allowed them to register Gavi and Araujo's new contracts have failed. Laporta admitted in November in an interview with Diario Sport that thanks to the bad running of the club by the previous board, the wage bill, despite various sales and departures including Messi in 2021 and Gerard Piqué last year, was still at €650 million, £571 million, when it needed to be at €450 million, £395 million. The club has reduced the wage bill by around €120 million, £105 million, since Laporta took charge, but some of the players are tied to contracts from the previous regime. This is changing slowly. Piqué has left, Sergio Busquets will leave in the summer, and Sergi Roberto has renewed on reduced terms. But Jordi Alba is still contracted until 2024. La Liga say the restrictions are for Barcelona's own good, preventing them from falling back towards the irresponsible overspend of the last president. The club, however, feel more slack could be cut, although there is an admission that elimination from the Champions League was financially disastrous. The only solution will be more sponsorship brought in, and a continuation of the cost-cutting exercises of recent years. Even on a reduced salary, Messi looks impossible now. His return would have to be charitable in the extreme on his part, with no signing-on fee and the riches of Paris, the US or Saudi Arabia, all rejected. Elsewhere, the club is firmly out of the race to sign Martin Zubimendi. Arsenal agreed terms with Real Sociedad last week on paying his €60 million, £53 million, release clause, only for the player to turn down the opportunity for now. The 23-year-old would be the perfect replacement for Busquets, but they simply cannot afford him. Instead, next summer the priority will be getting Gavi and Araujo's new contracts accepted by La Liga. For now, neither has any intention of asking to leave the club. Both have already signed new deals and trust the club to get them accepted by La Liga. But for Barcelona to be able to do that, further work is necessary. The club moves to the city's Olympic Stadium next season while work is carried out on renovating the Camp Nou. Estimates put the revenue lost, because of the smaller venue, at €93 million, £82 million, over the season. That means even with the commercial department in overdrive to expand income elsewhere, there are unavoidable matchday shortfalls on the horizon. No players will be sold this month. And cashing in on the crown jewels Gavi and Pedri next summer is also completely out of the question. It would set the club back too far on the field for it to be worthwhile. And Alejandro Balde and Ansu Fati probably fit into the same category. Frenkie de Jong has become more important than ever, and the reluctance to leave that he showed last summer has not diminished. Goalkeeper Marc-Andre ter Stegen has conceded just 6 league goals all season and is too important to leave. Robert Lewandowski will stay, and coach Xavi would certainly want his favorite, Ousmane Dembele, to be off limits for buying clubs. But others could be available. The club unsuccessfully tried to push Jordi Alba to Inter Milan on deadline day last summer. Rafinha has certainly not been a flop, but neither has he been a roaring success, and if an offer came in next summer that topped the €58 million, £51 million, the club paid for him at the start of the season, it would have to be listened to. Once again, Director of Football Matteo Alemany will be tasked with some financial plate spinning, making small gains while leaving Xavi with a squad just as competitive as the one he currently has. A new Super League that cuts Barcelona a far greater chunk of television revenue and assures them a place at the top table regardless of performances remains a far-fetched route out of trouble. Last month, the proposal was dealt another blow when the European Union's Advocate General, Athanasios Rantos, said that while clubs were at liberty to set up rival competitions, UEFA and FIFA were not abusing EU competition law by punishing them as a consequence. His verdict is not binding, and a final decision on the question will be made by European Court of Justice magistrates sometime this year. But the precedent is for the court to follow the line of the Advocate General. Laporta clings to the idea of a Super League saving Barca, but it's hard to see how it works. Another alternative, completely unacceptable to the club's supporters and current president, is to change the club's special status, taking it away from its member-controlled model and allowing in private, most likely foreign, owners. Laporta has said that will never happen while he is president. And so the struggle continues. The good news is that on the pitch all is well with the team in the Cup semifinals and now favorites for the league title. But off it, the battle for a level of sustainable solvency that will keep the team competitive goes on. And for now at least, the brilliant Gavi stays on a youth teamer's contract and the number 30, instead of Xavi's number 6, remains on his back. In conclusion, the financial problems faced by FC Barcelona are serious and have reached a point where the club may not be able to retain star player Lionel Messi. The situation highlights the importance of sound financial management in professional sport and raises questions about the future of one of the world's most successful clubs. What do you think? Leave your comment and your like. To the next.